I'm Simon from What Culture, and I've come to London to go to an Injustice 2 event because the gaming guys told me to. So I'm going to play it, and I'm going to let you know what I think about it because they're on YouTube. All right. Injustice 2 is one of those games that you can look at and just go, yeah, I want to play it. Especially if you played the original entry too. Aside from the fact it was just really good, the premise is such an easy sell. You take all of your favourite DC characters and put them in one big fight. What else do you need? Comic book people, violence? That's all any of us live for. What's better this time around is that NetherRealm, the developer, has had a whole game and loads of time to figure out how to make the sequel better. It's only fair to say this isn't a huge departure to what came before, but that is very much a good thing. It's a refinement of the engine the studio has made its own, and brought Mortal Kombat back to prominence too. What sits right at the top of the, yeah, cheers for this tree, is the fact it's so damn easy to get into. I enjoy sitting down and learning how a fighting game works. When it all starts to click, it's really satisfying, and the same is true here. The level of depth is crazy, and those who dedicate themselves to it will find them losing hours trying to understand what is and isn't possible. That's even better because you do have 30 plus characters, each standing out on their own 2 feet and offering something different. There are slight similarities between them, but Batman doesn't play like Wonder Woman, for example. You may be able to rely on a combo that works for both, but the execution is going to vary wildly. There's a skill level here, should you wish to experience it. On the other end of the spectrum, however, and what my original point was before I got wildly distracted just there, none of that is necessary at all. Even if you just want to learn the basics and nothing more, Ed Boon and his team have ensured that's more than possible. As long as you understand that one button will punch and another button will kick, you can just mash your way to having a good time, and there's nothing wrong with that, even though some gaming snobs would tell you there is. It's where a lot of fighting games make a mistake, but NetherRealm completely understands the audience they're going after. It's DC fans first, as well as those who want to immerse themselves in a fighter. That's not to say there isn't new trinkets for you all to get excited over, the biggest of which is the gear system. On the surface, it seems nothing like you should be fist pumping over. All fighting games love to offer alternate costumes, just so you can sit there and moan they got a particular shade of green wrong because that's not how it was in the comics, and so on. That is still one of the appeals here, but Injustice 2 has gone a step further and assigned attributes to each one too. Much like an RPG, the gear system rewards players with loot, and after every match you can level up your character. So not only can you make yourself look unique, but you can change your base stats of strength, defense, health and ability to suit how you play. As well as allowing you to craft a very original experience for yourself, it basically opens up the door to having more characters to choose from. After all, if I take Batman and just continue to go nuts with his strength, which is what I am going to do by the way, but you choose to be more defensive minded, then our 2 Dark Knights are only going to look the same. But if I then go out and get some mad threads to dress him up in, well then we're into it's all in the name territory. It's a very smart decision because it does add a hell of a lot to Injustice 2 and separates it from its predecessor no end. Thankfully, other elements still remain. While I didn't have the time to go through the story mode at this Swish London event because I was too busy getting to the quarterfinals of the tournament and then got knocked out by some geek, only kidding. The single player narrative portion will return with the sequel, and I already know that's a good thing. Why? Because it's brilliant before. So why wouldn't it be brilliant now? Playing against the AI in a fighting game has always been a bit hit and miss because eventually you're going to get bored. The computer can only offer so much of a challenge and it becomes diminishing returns very quickly. When there's a narrative included though, and you know you're fighting for a specific purpose, everything changes. Here, it's also how a bunch of the new characters are worked in, such as Scarecrow, as a new group of villains get together to try and bring the world to an end. There will be many more twists and turns than just that, and it will probably be bonkers, but as long as this is as good as what the original Injustice offered, then all will be dandy. It's just a lot of fun at the end of the day, and that's what games are meant to be. Like ice cream on a hot Sunday. No need to get too upset here. So while you could say this is a sequel in every sense of the term, it's a really good one. And given that Injustice came out in 2013, which is terrifying when I say it out loud because I've no idea where those 4 years went, I'm more than ready to return to a format I loved. Then there's everything else you'd expect as well. It looks great, the animations are fantastic, and this is a better game than before, even if the foundations are still the same. It's just more well-rounded and put together a lot better, and it's really, really slick. All in all then, I'm very happy this exists and I hope that in another 4 years time we get Injustice 3. Although when that does roll around, if we could not base the Joker on Jared Leto's interpretation, that would be much appreciated. Cause, you know, he was awful. Cheers. But yeah, Injustice 2 is easily going to be one of the highlights of the year. Unless you hate the DC Universe and fighting games, but then you didn't need me to tell you that. And it's proof yet again that NetherRealm is back on point.
Be it this franchise or Mortal Kombat, I don't think anyone is making better fighting games at the moment. And what a thing for me to say. I mean it though, and not just because I want to marry Batman. Even though I do. And one day I will, and I will become Mrs. Batman. That was weird, but I reiterate, Injustice 2, fantastic stuff.